Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is on the online slips and referral tracking here in BNI Connect. We're going to be going through how to enter referrals online, how to receive referrals online, and how to track your referrals online. There's a ton of benefits to inputting all of your slip information, including referrals, one-to-one, thank you for closed business, and CEUs directly into BNI Connect. It gives you a wealth of information going forward that, quite frankly, we've never been able to track before on simply paper. So now that we're putting it into BNI Connect, you'll be able to track all this information, see the benefits to your membership, and it also helps to shorten down the referral process. So a couple of housekeeping things before we get started today. Today is a live webinar, so that means that if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, please do feel free to ask those questions. The best way to do that is to please type your questions into the BNI Connect, into the GoToWebinar screen. I'll see those pop up on my screen, and I can answer those questions as we're going through the materials. We're scheduled for about 30 minutes worth of content. I like to make sure that everybody that needs to get back to work can get back to work right away. This webinar is being recorded as well, so you can review it later, or if you need to pass this along to other members in your chapter, you're welcome to do so. You'll be able to find the recordings in a couple of places, the first of which is, you see this question mark up here in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect? If you click this question mark, that will take you over to the support site. And on the support site, you will see our list of upcoming webinars, but also scroll down a little bit and you'll see chapter training and documentation. You'll see just about everything that you could possibly think of documented here in the chapter training and documentation, including the recorded webinars. So here we can see them from last year, and very shortly I will have January 2015 listed. But if you just click on one of those, you can either view them in line here or full screen, or you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, and we have a ton of material up on this as well, including short little 5-minute educational moments as well. All right, so let's take a look at the online slips and referral tracking. So for those of you that have logged into BNI Connect before, what you should be greeted with is this home screen. And this home screen has a ton of information on it already. The first of which is your My BNI Business up here in the top portion of the screen. Now the My BNI Business, those are your personal statistics in BNI. This is regardless of whether you've been entering your slips online or if you've been turning in paper at the meeting. This should have the last 12 months of your activity as well as your lifetime in BNI. So for me, I've been a member for about a little over 12 years now, coming up on 13 years here in the Rhode Island region. This does have my last year and my full lifetime statistics, even before BNI Connect existed. One thing to know about these statistics up here at the top is that these will only be updated after the weekly meeting and your vice president has gone in and submitted the weekly POMS report. So up until that point, all the information is just queued up, ready to go. But after they've submitted that weekly report, after your meeting happened, these numbers up on top will change. If you'd like further detail on these numbers, you can also click on the My Personal Participation Report. So if I click on the My Personal Participation Report, what we'll see here is it will list out all of my individual activity on a week-by-week basis for each one of these weeks here within the POMS reports. Let me rerun this in the live system here for you real quick. And here we go. So it'll show me week by week. Here's January for the past 12 months of my membership. I can see every single week what my referrals were, what my visitors were, my one-to-ones, my thank you for closed business. I can see an attendance summary for the last 12 months, people that I've sponsored, as well as my training history. So this is a way to, especially if you happen to see a mistake and you say, oh, you know what, I really don't think I was absent that week, you could always go to this personal POMS report and figure out which week you might have been marked incorrectly for, to be able to go back to your vice president or leadership team to tell them which week had the error. All right, now the bottom part of the screen down here, this is where we're going to do our activity, our weekly referral, weekly referrals, one-to-one, CEUs, thank you for closed business. All of the weekly slip activity happens down here at the bottom. So at the top of this, we'll see the 4 submits. Submit thank you for closed business, submit referrals, submit one-to-ones, and submit CEUs. Then we can also track our referrals online. We can review all of the slips that we've turned in electronically here in BNI Connect. We can view all the referrals that have been sent to us electronically, and we can print out our weekly slips before the meeting. So the thing to remember is that all of this activity you can do as it happens. So if I have a referral for somebody, I want to be able to pass that referral right away. I shouldn't have to wait until my weekly meeting. And you can do that by using these online slips. So let's take a look at that. Let's say that I do have a referral for somebody in my chapter. I was maybe out networking, or I was at a client's office, and this referral opportunity happened. Well, I can submit a referral slip. I just need to choose somebody from my chapter. So let's say that this referral was to Matt Wall. He's the Midas dealer in my chapter, so he fixes automobiles. And this referral was to my next door neighbor, George Smith. I was out talking with him, and he said he needed an oil change, and I referred him to Matt Wall. I can put in the referral status. This was an outside referral, by the way. The address. Telephone number. Email address. And any comments. George is looking for an oil change ASAP. I can then rate this referral. This is a hot referral. And click Save and New or Submit. Now the difference between those is, let's say that I have another referral right away. I can click Save and New. It'll submit this referral. It will open up a new blank referral for me to submit right away. Or if I hit Submit, it will just submit this referral and bring me right back to the home screen. Or I could hit Close, which will discard all this information and still return me to the home screen. I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. So now what happens is that Matt Wall just received an email saying, by the way, Jeremy Walsh just referred somebody to you. And I can tell you, as being the recipient of some of these emails, that's a pretty exciting thing. As a matter of fact, here's one that I received just recently, back at the end of November. It was a referral to Melissa Green. I got this in my email. Had the person's phone number in it, and it was a referral from the dry cleaner in my chapter. So I was able to give this person a call, get started on this referral right away. Now the great part about this is if you're out and about, if you're mobile, you receive one of these on your handheld device, whether that's an iPhone or an Android phone, whatever it might be. Most of the time when you have something like a phone number or an email address, as soon as you click that, it dials the phone for you, or it starts a new email message for you. So this really does help to shorten the referral process by giving you the opportunity to follow up on that referral right away. Now the great thing is that that referral that I just passed, I can always go back and review that referral in my Review My Referral slips. When I click Go, it's going to show me the last referrals from just the past month. I can change this date if I'd like to. Let's say I'd like to go back for the last 6 months or the last year or so. I can do that. And this will show me all of the referrals that I've passed in the last 12 months. And if I scroll all the way down to the bottom here, Here's the referral that I passed to Matthew Wall for George Smith. I can see all the details that I put in there. And one thing that you'll notice is that it is draft. So the final column over here is the POM's status. The POM's status is draft. That means that our weekly meeting hasn't happened yet. So our vice president hasn't submitted the POM's report yet. As soon as our vice president has submitted the POM's report, this will become official. It'll become part of all the statistics and the reports in the system, and this will go from draft to completed. Now, other slips work the same way. Let's take a look at the thank you for closed business slip. So let's say that somebody passed me a referral. I was able to close that deal. It turned into revenue for my business. I want to make sure that I thank them for generating that revenue for my business. I could just select somebody from my chapter. Let's say this was Robin Lussier. She is the web designer in my chapter, and she had recently referred somebody that ended up generating about $2,000 in business to my business. And this was a new referral. It was an outside referral. For those of you that don't know the difference between a Tier 1, a Tier 2, and a Tier 3 referral, a Tier 1 referral is an inside referral. And that means that two members did business with each other. Again, two people did business with each other. So all of the business stayed inside the chapter. A Tier 2 or outside referral means that I introduced, for example, somebody in my network to you. So I went into my contact list. Somebody else besides myself I was able to introduce. A Tier 3 referral is if somebody that I referred you to then referred you to one of their friends. So that would be a Tier 3 referral. This was a Tier 2 referral. And I can put whatever comments in. Now when it comes to thank you for closed business, the comments section is always private and personal to you and only you. There is nobody else that can read the comments for your thank you for closed business except yourself. So I can even put in the name of the client. So this was, Dr. Long needed a new server. And again, I can even put the client's name in because I know that this is private. Only I'm going to be able to review these comments later. Again, I can click Save and New if I'd like to enter another thank you for closed business slip right away, or hit Submit to be returned to the home page. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Save and New. And the other thing that you can do with the slips is if you are doing one-to-ones or thank you for closed business or referrals with members in other chapters within your region, you can record that as well. Now keep in mind this is only for other members within your local area. At some point in the future we will be able to, let's say, pass a referral to anybody in the United States or to anybody in the world. However, right now it's limited to only those chapters in your region. So let's say that I have a relationship with somebody else in my region here that they passed me some business and I would like to thank them for it. I could go to Search Cross Chapter and type in some information about the person. Now you don't have to fill out everything. You only have to fill out a little bit of information. For example, this person's name, his name is David Cordero. I can never remember whether it's Dave or David, so I'm just going to put in the first couple of letters of his name and click Search. So this brings me back all of the Davids in the area. I can see that it's this one right here, David Cordero from CityBiz. And I can see that that's the right person, so I'm going to check it off. It's going to ask me if I'm sure. And I click OK. And now we'll see that David is listed here as the thank you for closed business. I can then go ahead and fill out the rest of this information. Let's say that this was a $400 referral. It was repeat business, and it was personal business. He had referred himself to me. And maybe this was for some data recovery or something like that. And I could click Submit. And again, if I want to review this information, I can do that. I can review my thank you for closed business slips. That's how you know that it was submitted successfully. I can see that immediately these two slips to David Cordero and Robin Lussier, they're both here. They are both in draft mode that we can see, but they are both listed. So that means that those slips were successfully submitted. The other great thing about the Thank You for Closed Business list is one thing you can do is to find out who are you thanking the most. In other words, who is your best referral source in the chapter. By sorting this by thank you to, you can then start analyzing and saying, wow, it looks like I've thanked David twice in the last couple of months. Maybe it's time to take him out to lunch. You could also sort it by amount. So maybe you can see who has been referring you the most amount of business from a dollar standpoint. Now, the other thing about the Thank You for Closed Business is we can also track how much money you've received to your business for you. So we can see here in the Thank You for Closed Business Given report, I've thanked $14,467 worth of business to my business. What we'll do is we'll start keeping a total for you, revenue received to my business, which will end up being the same total as all of the Thank You for Closed Business slips that you've turned in. One thing to keep in mind is that this number is not stored in the POMS report, and it is only available by turning in Thank You for Closed Business slips online. Now, the next couple of slips are pretty much the same thing. A one-to-one slip, same as a regular one-to-one paper slip. We're going to select the person from our chapter that we met with. Let's say this was Brad Asher. He sells insurance in my chapter. So we can put in the location, and we met at Dunkin' Donuts. And what did we talk about? We talked about new umbrella insurance. We can put in the date that we met. Let's say that we met on Friday, and we can click Save a New or Submit. Now, one thing about entering one-to-ones is that only one person of the pair needs to enter that one-to-one. So let's say that Brad went to go and enter a one-to-one with me. The location can be different. The topic of conversation can be different. But if there is another one-to-one that matches the pair and the date, they will get an error message that says there is already another one-to-one in the system that matches this one. And we can go ahead and hit cancel at that point. And of course, once I enter my one-to-ones, I can then go back and review my one-to-one report. And here's the one-to-one that I just added with Brad Asher. The thing that I love about the one-to-one report is that you can really start to strategize your one-to-ones. For example, let's say I want to see who have I done one-to-ones with in the last 2 months so that I can figure out maybe who I need to do a one-to-one with next. So I'm going to go back to, let's say, 2014. And I'm going to go back to, I don't know, October 1st. I'm going to look at the last quarter or so. So I can really track who have I done one-to-ones with, who do I need to meet with next, and who I've already met with. Finally, we have the CEU slips. Now, I'd like everybody to make sure that you go into your CEU slips and make sure that you submit a 1 CEU credit for a BNI webinar today, and that will give you a 1 CEU. If you've done other continuing education units, please be sure to mark those off as well. And of course, that CEU will be in my Review My CEU slips. And here it is at the bottom in draft mode, my 1 credit for a BNI webinar. Now, if you make a mistake on any of your slips, let's say that you either entered one by accident or you had the wrong information on it, you can always go to Edit, Delete Slips at the top of any one of these Review My Slips reports. This will take you into a place where it will show you all of the editable slips, meaning all of the ones that are still in draft mode. So it looks like I might have double entered a thank you for closed business for David Cordero. So I probably want to go in and delete the one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one that I entered a couple of months ago. And now this one will not be in my Palms report anymore. You can also change any details if you need to. Let's say that I had my one-to-one here with Brad Asher, and I'd like to update the details in it so I had a better record, new umbrella insurance, and information about how to sell computer services. I can go ahead and edit those details as well. Once I'm done with that, I can close that window and return to the report, and my information will be updated. One thing that people always ask is, well, what am I supposed to do for the meeting now? If we're not filling out the paper slips anymore, how am I supposed to win the door prize if I'm not turning in a paper slip? Well, that's pretty straightforward to do. At the bottom here, you'll see a link that says Print Your Weekly Slips. And if I click on Print Your Weekly Slips, by default, it'll show me the last week's worth of activity. And I click Go. Now, when I go to print this, what you'll see is that it is set so that the referral slips are roughly the same size as a traditional referral slip that you would have in your chapter meeting. That way you can print this out, you can cut it out with a pair of scissors or whatever else you might do, and turn that into the vice president. That way you can be selected for the door prize. Now the rest of the information is not in a slip format, and that's because there's really no need for it to be. We want to be standing up and we want to be celebrating all of this activity on a weekly basis. We want to talk about the referrals. We want to talk about the thank you for closed business. We want to talk about the one-to-ones and the CEUs and report our visitors that we had there for the week. But the original reason for the slips was so that the vice president could take that information back with them and fill out a Palms report based on this little slips of paper. When we do the slips online, all of that information is electronically entered into the Palms report for the vice president. So there's no longer any need to have all of those individual slips, except for the referral slip. Now, if you forget, just go ahead and use a regular referral slip and write the information out so that you can be included on a door prize. Now, I do recommend that you take a pen and put a big X through it just to make sure that your vice president knows not to count it again because it was already entered online. Now, referrals that you receive in BNI Connect, you can also track those as well. So you'll see here there's Received Referrals Report here right above Print Your Weekly Slips. And what you can do with this is, again, you can change the date range to anything you'd like. By default, it's going to show you the last 6 months. And if you click Go, you can review the details of any of the referrals that you've received through BNI Connect. Now, keep in mind the other person did need to submit this slip electronically in order for it to appear in your referral tracking report. So I can see here these are all referrals that I've received. I can see what their status is and whether or not I've tracked any of the information about these referrals. If I need to look up a phone number or an email or who referred this to me, I can go back to this referral received report in order to find this information. Now, if I'd like to change any of this information, I'd like to track better. For example, let's say that there was this the one from Tom Rowland here, and it looks like it's still in a new status, but I know that that's been done. I can go in and track my referrals received. I can choose a date range. Oh, let me go back here. And here's the referral from Tom Rowland. Let's say I need to go ahead and edit this. I can change the status now to closed. I know that I contacted him right away on the 2nd. If I'd like to track that information, I can put in when I met with him and when I followed up. Once I click Submit, this will be updated in my referral tracking report as well. And the other great thing is that on Tom's referral slips given report, he will see that as a closed referral now as well. So that helps to close the loop on communications between the referral giver and the referral receiver. Now, finally, if we have any vice presidents on the line, I just want to give you a sample of what this now looks like. So as a vice president, I would need to go in and input the weekly POMS report following the chapter meeting. So normally we do this by going to Operations, and then we go to Meeting Management, and we go to Enter the POMS report. Let me make sure I'm in the right chapter here. So let's say that I'm entering the POMS report for this week's meeting. What we should see now is that some of the information has been already filled out for us. So we have that one-to-one that I input with Brad Asher. It's already here in the POMS report. The thank you for closed business to Robin Lussier is also here in the POMS report. The referral received from Matthew Wall is here, as well as my referral given, my one-to-one, and my CEU. So you can see that the more people that enter their slips online, the easier it is for the vice president to perform their function on a weekly basis. And if you need to double check, you can always click the slips audit report, and it will give you all the details. I'm going to go ahead and just save this one as a draft since this week hasn't happened yet. And that is the online slips and referral tracking in BNI Connect. What I'd like to do is to open this up for any questions. If anybody has any questions at all about the online slips, I would love to answer those questions now. While you're thinking of any questions, just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded. It will be made available in 2 different places. The first of which is by clicking on the question mark here in BNI Connect. That will take you over to the support site, and you will see, oops, wrong one. We'll take you over to the support site. You'll see our list of upcoming webinars. Scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see chapter training and documentation. And you will see a new category here for January 2014 very, very shortly. You can also find it on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And I would also love it if you give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. We do webinar announcements and reminders and tips and tricks and all sorts of stuff up here as well. So please do give us a like up on facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. All right, do we have any questions? Any questions at all? By the way, anybody that's bringing this back to your own chapters or would like to be teaching this, there's also small question marks in front of most things here in BNI Connect. If you click on that small question mark, it will take you to the help article for that specific thing. So let's say you'd like to encourage online referrals in your chapter. You could always go to this small question mark under Submit Referral Slips. It will bring you right to that help article. There's a quick 3-minute video as well as a step-by-step process for how to submit referrals in BNI Connect. And we do have a quick question. What if the members aren't using this? My thought is to encourage them to please start passing the referrals online. That way you can both be tracking the information and you have it forever, as opposed to those paper slips that tend to go through the wash and things like that. You can also talk to your leadership team to encourage this activity as well, who may be able to use the educational coordinator and other training methods in order to roll this out in your chapter. Does that help, Kevin? All right, if you found today's information helpful, a great referral for me is to please let other members and your other chapter members and your other chapters know about these webinars. Our very next webinar is going to be Wednesday, so 2 days from now. We're going to be talking about your global network. How can BNI Connect allow you to tap into the greater resource of BNI around the world? How can you find other members around the world? How can you connect with them? How can you have conversations with them? We're going to be talking about that on Wednesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. So please do join us, and a great referral for me would be to let somebody know about that webinar. Thank you very much, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Happy connecting.